YouTube. Just gonna keep saying that until we go live, until I see myself. Stream is up and running on YouTube on both. Right. I can't see the YouTube stream yet, but it should be up any minute now, and I'll check back on it shortly. Welcome to another session of Chart Mastery. Last stream was pretty bearish, right? Every alt you guys gave me, every other alt looked like it was ready to take a bigger drop. We talked about BTC and we talked about ETH possibly experiencing down candles. I wasn't expecting something super deep, right? I mean, we did pull back some, but in the grand scheme of things, we haven't made a new low, not yet. Now, one thing that was disappointing last time was the lack of a 61.8, right? So we did see a pullback when it was a 50% on BTC. Didn't really get to 61.8, just like what we saw previously. And I highlighted that last stream. And it didn't seem like a complete bear setup, right? And looks like we're consolidating into a descending broadening wedge. So we might see another leg up during this consolidation period, right? So we did see like slightly below the 61.8. We saw something very similar here, and that's what I compared it to last stream, saying you're probably going to see a down candle, a big one, but not like nothing super massive, not just yet. And what am I expecting from here, right? So I did pull up our Harmonic Scanner. Actually, before I keep going, I'm going to kind of cover the bases of today. We're going to cover BTC. I'm going to cover Ether. I'm going to cover Litecoin. I'm going to cover the S&P and the QQQ. And then I'm going to take any chart requests you guys have. Now, last stream being bearish, we've got a lot of dips, so there's possibly some buy opportunities, and I'm going to try to be as comprehensive as I can with my analysis. That way, if you do see something that's a good entry, you can all benefit from it. So don't be shy to show me some tickers. What's up, MTS 678 Fire Marshal? So if you do see something that's a good entry, we could start squeezing in some numbers and maybe squeeze some returns out of it. So yeah, let's kind of keep an open mind towards this dip. It might not be over, right? But also, dips present buy opportunities. Don't need to really panic, not just yet. That being said, all right, I think I'm ready to dive in. So I did pull up the Harmonic Scanner. This is one of our trading view indicators, and I think it was on the 21 setting. I did spot a harmonic. I spotted a couple, right? So we've got a 4-point on the 21 setting, right? And it's kind of doing the turn. And if you go to 32, right, this one looks valid, right? I mean, this is a swing low. It still didn't go lower. That's a swing high. Like, these pivots are great. It's a 272, and the scanner is saying the target's 56.79, right? So in terms of, possibility of a buy the dip trade on BTC, we're seeing an entry at 57.5, right? And we might wake down to 55.415 too, right? And that's, you gotta keep an open mind towards that. And ironically, I haven't been trading a lot of BTC on leverage just because it hasn't been, the swings aren't great, and there's been better swings and easier charts to read and trade. And even though BTC is the big daddy, we had a clear short entry on Litecoin at the very top. We had clear long signals on the way up. It hit the short target, and now it's lower, right? So I'll cover that shortly. Yeah, all right, so let's dive in. BTC, I do see the harmonic patterns, right? I'm going to keep both of them on. That way we kind of keep an eye on these levels, right? And one of them looks like it's playing out. Now, if we do see an up move, right, if we do see an up move that doesn't surpass this next smaller 61.8, which would be 63.741, right? If we do see this up move to here, and then we see resistance at this previous level, right? At this point, I'm shorting big, right? If we reject as 63.374, because then we know the next target is going to be lower. It might invalidate that pattern, the harmonic pattern, right? So that would be the first resistance, which is that previous Fib level, right? And which was resistance over here and over here and over here, right? And support back here. And then the next one, like the trap, right? If it was to trap just a little bit higher, it would be 64.880. So I'm just going to set an alert here for myself when we get close to possibly start filling some shorts. trying to see where this dip can actually go. Let's pull up some moving averages. Let's go to a daily chart. Let's see what moving averages say. Like, you know, on a daily perspective, this doesn't look that bad, guys. Like, it really doesn't. Not yet. And the dollar index has been raging. I mean, look at that. On the daily, we're at the 50 moving average. That looks good. So I can see why we're turning. I can see why this dip could possibly be over already, right? Like, look at how many times we've pulled back to this blue cyan line. Like 1, 2, 3, right? And tucked back up, right? And so this is like actually, historically, the 50-day moving average on BTC is a good buy, right? Unless it's like a liquidity grab. But there's been a lot of moves that just kept going up, bounced right off the 50, right? Like this one, the following one, this one, right? 5,500 was the last time it ranked the 50-day moving average, right, in 2017 before going all-time high. So, I mean, to some, this looks like a good buy opportunity. To others, they might be panic selling if they bought the top. All right. And you know, so this looking like possibly a pivot. We know what our next two targets are, and we're going to monitor for resistance, right? So I think that covers BTC for now. Come back in on Friday and give you guys another update, and hopefully I'm right? Let's move indicators. All right, let's hop in a Litecoin, just because that one's like been easier to trade, pretty clear cut, right? We got our short entry and we had a 61.8 and it validated the 61.8. And yesterday, you know, I did this and I posted this chart on Discord. I'm like, hey guys, like 221 to 222 is looking like a potential reversal zone. I dropped it in like our margin chat, right? IMO next level for LTC is 221, 222. If this one breaks, whoop, okay, we don't want to. Bad words. Discord lingo, sorry. All right, so that was what I was looking for the chart to do, and I went with like a larger 61.8, and it looks like it's holding. And that's how I got these targets, right? 222, 221, and it held up. So if you guys like got a small long in, that's what I was saying yesterday, is it's okay to put a small long in on these dips on leverage, because one, you get a starter position. So if you get like a bounce back, like a rebound pretty quick, right? You're already dealing with house money at that point, right? Which is why I like doing that. What's your thoughts on NQES futures today? Winstyle, I'm going to cover Ether, and then we're going to do a deep dive on ESNQ. Interestingly, I saw something on ES that to me is a sell signal. I'll pull that up shortly. It's like not on ES itself, but it's on RBI, our indicator that we built, that's saying there's possibly some volatility incoming on the S&P, and I'll showcase that and we'll dive into it. So I think, you know, on LTC, my initial target was like 233, right? When I streamed last Wednesday and we took a short up here, right? The target was 233, right? And I guess I was eyeing this swing 61.8 from this low to this high, but the market was looking at this one and it was also looking at the larger fib. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out, right, and show you guys what, you know, the big picture. Hopefully you guys can see it, right? So we went to 61.8 and we dropped down to the 50, and now we're at the 38.2, right? It's just retesting of levels, right? And now we can turn around and kind of head back up if that's what the market decides. All right, ETH USD, probably blank chart once again. Yep. That looks like a really more bigger drop on ETH than it does on BTC. Like I had a friend call me yesterday asking, or their parent was asking me if they should sell, and I'm like you're selling the dip. That's like, seems like counterintuitive. Like a panic sell. We didn't quite ring that 51.23 target, right? We'll get some targets. We'll see why we rejected there. So we could take this swing high, extend to this low, and get up here. And what do we got? Yeah, we got, you know, 47,431, right? Previously I was using this higher high, right, for my previous extensions. We didn't really ring that one either. So I'm gonna stick to this one because the chart is compliant, right? if you guys have like fib questions, I know I said I'm gonna announce a workshop. The page is up, all right? I'm having a workshop. It's gonna be online and in person. So for you guys that want that information, I'm gonna post that in Discord as soon as I wrap up the stream and the page is ready. So we just got like 2 more things to do, and then we'll announce that. ETH is looking tricky. I think one way to look at these dips is look at the moving averages, right? And as long as we're still above the 50 MA, right? Or we're bouncing off the 50 MA, we can consider it as support, right? We can consider it as support. Ironically, you know, RBI gave like a few sell signals and it took a dive. Is there fib support here? Let's see. BTC didn't give me one, which is tricky. ETH is giving one, right? I mean, we see these 2 wicks right here. And once again, if you wanted to fill a short on ETH, thinking, you know, not right now, right? I don't short low. I wait for my 61.8 and I pounce on it. I think like 4,500 would be one. Let's go on like a intraday, catch a really good swing high that will give us a good entry. Yeah, so it would be above this level, right? The critical level of like 4,300, 4,390. So probably 4,500. And this consolidation is looking fairly bullish. So unless we see like some really high sell pressure, this looks like it's going to break upwards. I'm not saying, you know, like buy this breakout, but if we see a breakout here, I think we'd at least go to 4,500. Fire day, chart senso, that's right. All right. So now I've covered BTC, ETH, and Litecoin. Let's go into EOS. So I'm pretty skeptical of this rally on S&P. Like, yeah, we're having inflation and so forth, and it's kind of been the talk. It's been the talk of like the last year, right? Since COVID printer turned on and people realized that the market. We were not going in recession 2.0, right? It wasn't the Great Depression. That wasn't what COVID did, right? So one thing that I like to look for is retests to previous levels, right? And I talked about this a while ago. We never got a real retest of like 399. We got above it. We haven't had a retest of 456 either. And what I mean by retest is, you guys that are regulars to my stream, you already know what I'm talking about, right? What I'm talking about retest is when price goes above a fib level and comes back and retests, right? Retest here, retest here, retest here, right? This was a deep one. And then when we were here in December, I said we haven't had one on the weekly. We're expecting a crash. And then 2 months later, COVID crash came down to 215, right? So we put that in a perspective, and here, you know, we had weeks of price action above 307. I think 456 is missing a retest, right? We do have a lot of these gaps, like a lot of gap ups happened that have not been filled. So I think we could see something like September of last year, right? We got to fill this gap. We could see like a gap fill type meltdown. Is it gonna happen now? Is it not gonna happen now? The only like, I'll do a harmonic scan shortly, but the only thing that makes me think it's soon is our indicator RBI. It's that momentum oscillator on the low end, right? It's giving me a blue signal, right? And it's doing like it's turning red. That red wasn't there. That red dot wasn't there 30 minutes ago, right? And usually when we see these blue signals, it signals like a volatility incoming, right? We saw one here. I'm just going to use a vertical line to like highlight some of the ones we saw. Like these are little ones, right? Some of them are going to be like bigger, like this one, right? This correction had one of those. Pretty much every top has turned blue at some point. And then this one didn't have a red sell signal. And this is a daily chart, so it could take a few days for it to unfold, this one, but it wasn't a big correction, you know, just we should expect a dip. Right here we had the same thing. This one was a false signal, right? But then this following one was pretty good. So we are missing a retest in the big picture, right? We're missing 2 retests. And I'd like to see that happen. I don't have like a 61.8 that I can short, right? I did buy VIX because if we get something like we did in September, it'll be interesting. We had VIX and we got out and decided to come back in, right, before the stream. I feel like if we get a dip to 46.99, right, at this point, 46.69, right, and it holds, maybe I'll get out of VIX. And if you go to 47.28 and it rejects, then I'll maybe add VIX because my VIX is December and it's a few weeks out, so it could average down in case we do come back down and retest. That's what I'm seeing on the ES. Let's look at NQ. NQ's been a little more volatile, right? Let me do QQQ first and then we'll do NQ. So yeah, QQQ is peeling off. Just gonna remove all drawings and build a chart from scratch. I'm gonna take the all-time or previous all-time high, 2000 bubble high. Oof, getting close. Look at that. And this is gonna be like pretty hard to get this spot on, right? But 384 kind of has been a target, right? So are we gonna stay above it? What's going on here? So let's go on like the daily now. Now that we have like the long-term fibs, I want to see what this last swing extension is. It's above the 1.4, right? So if it stays above, we could see continuation. But if bears are able to push this down and past 391, then you want to see the correction unfold. But for now, I'm not getting a strong sell. What is RBI doing here? It's not quite doing the same. Let's pull up NQ. We had that blue volatility signal and it went away. Let's pull up NQ. Why did that just happen? Yeah, it's not looking the same as ES on RBI, so it'll be interesting. For me, it's a no trade zone, right? Like, if I don't see a setup, I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to force one. Alright, well, I've covered the charts I wanted to cover as well as I could cover them for the moment being, right? I'm going to start looking at y'all's requests. OMUSDT. It's a tricky chart. All right, it's not very old. It's below the 60. Everything's gonna be below the 61.8 today, right? So if we do get that turn on BTC, and let's say this thing does break out, I don't even know the correlation between the two, right? But I mean, I think 30 cents is a safe place to start, considering the possibilities, right? From there, I wouldn't like bet on it and going a lot higher. Maybe on that later swing. So 30, 35, yeah, 30 cents, 35 cents on a breakout. Like if it gets up here and it fails, I'd probably want to take profit and wait and see what the rest of the market does, right? Ooh, IWM, small caps. Man, we sold that small caps, the TNA long that I had right at the top. That was a snipe sell. That was a really good sell that we did in Discord in like last week or the week before that. I haven't had a position in there since. I was looking at it today because it's dipping. What do you want to do with it, right? Like, do you want to take this possible bull flag setup or wait? But I sold out on my calls on the Russell up here at 243, right? Let me see what Harmonics are saying. I've got to use this scanner more often. Oh, there's a deep 6.8. It's a deep crab. And we didn't do that on the S&P and the QQQ, so I want to go back and do those real quick. I think, was that a 9? Yeah, it was a 9 setting. Here we go. So we're seeing a deep crab. It did punch a little higher, went to the stop. Not quite to the stop, but, it hit that target. And what the scanner is saying is target 1 on this is 228, right? Target 2 is 221. Right, you guys see those dashed lines, and then that's T1, that's T2. So we could get all the way down there. And that's maybe where I'd want to start counter trading. But What do I see anything else? It's a little tricky, right? A lot of things have really pumped. Like seriously made some serious moves. 231. Yeah, that seems logical. Pot stock FLGC looked like she broke out. You bet. Scotch, thank you for showing me your ticker. You guys smash that like button. Please help us out. Get those algorithms to show us more love. So cannabis did a thing on news, right? I don't like news setups. I hate news setups because once the news is out, like quote unquote, sell the news. So the last cannabis move was on Republicans pushing some kind of decriminalization bill, which is very anti-conservative, right? Like we're seeing a big shift in policy and stance towards a lot of things. Next thing you know, they're going to be like legalizing abortion and stuff. This isn't a political stream. This is but I'm all for legalization of cannabis, right? Like it's silly that it's still illegal. I think there's better cannabis tickers than this one, right? Like ACB, right? I think there's just better charts. Like there's definitely better looking charts, right? Like this one's looking like it's trying to reverse. There's like compound inverse head and shoulders. I don't really like this formation, but it's looking better than FLGC, right? It just says Tilray 2, right? There's some better pot tickers out there. I don't like this. I don't like this bear flag looking price action on Tilray. It looks like it just wound up to go lower. That's what it looks like. Right? It's like in a channel. It looks very much like a bear, like a rising wedge in a sense, but like not even a bullish one. I had a target for this Friday on my calls and it never really got there. Right? Rejected at the 50 and I was looking to sell my calls at like 14. We got to like 1388. Didn't fully get there. Just like BTC didn't fully get to 61.8. So maybe the market's doing something a little different. Maybe this is just a bear trap, and then next thing you know, we get a candle to 14 and one to 18. Up Singapore. I covered LTC. It was the second chart I covered. I can't go back and forth. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to wait for the stream to be over, or I don't know if you can rewind or maybe rewind back on YouTube. Maybe like 2-3 minutes in. It was the second chart I covered. I promise. Just got a Discord ping. Who is pinging me in Discord? All right. Something about an FDIC in crypto, so I have to look up that. It's this what that ping was about. All right. You guys have any more tickers for me? That's it. Y'all wanna? Nobody's looking to buy dips anywhere. We're just sitting on our hands. That's it. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning into today's stream. Sorry I pushed it back an hour. I had something I wanted to do for myself, but we'll be back on regular scheduled timing on Friday, right? So noon Eastern, right? So an hour earlier than we went today. I appreciate you all for tuning in, for showing me your tickers, for liking the video. Once again, I do have my workshop coming up on fibs and how to use them and pretty much everything I know. It's on the 27th, and I'll drop this link in Discord. You guys in VIP, you get the hookup, and if you guys not in VIP, you don't get the hookup. But you will learn a lot of what I know, right? And you'll be able to like read charts using these methods. Other than that, thank you all for tuning in. Follow the links, get in our Discord, and I'll catch you in there.